Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the JDCUS 2016 Marketing Case presentation, proudly presented by the Ministry of Agriculture. I'd like to give a big thank you to our judges for being here with us today. Shelley Lukisiewicz from CPA Saskatchewan, Kate Lockhart from EMCO, Nick Kochar from Refresh, Alana Coach from the Government of Saskatchewan, Kim McConnell from AdFarm, Michael Hofford from the Farm Credit Canada, Tiffany Stevenson from the Ministry of Agriculture, and Mohammed Torshizi from the Department of Bioresource Policy, Business and Economics, and the College of Agriculture and Bioresources. Competitors will have a maximum of 20 minutes to present. Immediately following the presentation, judges will have a total of 5 minutes to ask the presenters questions. The voluntary timekeeper will show time cards at various intervals to indicate the remaining time and will stop any speaker who exceeds the maximum time limit. No questions, comments, cell phones, or picture taking will be permitted from the audience at any time. The audience will only be permitted to applaud following the question and answer period. The audience is also banned from any material that bears the name or symbol of a competing university. And lastly, we ask that the audience exit the room immediately following the question and answer period. Competitors, you may begin when you're ready.
Good morning. My name is Dale. Joining me today are my colleagues Sten and Josh, and we are JDS Consulting. And before we begin today, I want to assure you, you have made the right choice by coming to JDS Consulting and choosing professionals that truly do know marketing consulting. So let us begin. Today we'll begin with a short, brief agenda in which we will show you how we identified problems. We'll go through a very detailed analysis about target markets as well as the environment in which you're in, beautiful Saskatoon. We'll continue on with a recommendation plan and implementation where we can go completely through every detail so everything is covered completely for you. We will then go through some risks and mitigations. As with any plan, there are risks, but we will mitigate those for you today. And finally, we'll go through a brief conclusion so you can truly understand just how well we covered everything. Let's begin. So we started off with a primary issue, and it's very clear what it is in this situation, but it is also very manageable. So the issue today is the lack of education surrounding the Canadian agriculture industry. It's become a major issue, but it is going to be something that we will definitely touch on in great detail for you. We identified 3 secondary issues. First of all, we have the misleading campaigns. With companies such as A&W and Chipotle causing such stress for the agriculture industry with their differentiating products that are in fact misleading campaigns that could potentially damage the Canadian agricultural industry, we want to make sure that those get covered completely and how we're going to be able to handle that issue within it. Second, misconceptions about the agricultural industry. Right now, everyone believes they're just farmers. Is that really all that's due to the agricultural industry? Obviously not. How can we make sure that everyone else knows that? Finally, the lack of interest about the agricultural products themselves. Hormone-free beef. Well, we all have hormones. Animals have hormones. That small amount that's within the beef, that is for our safety. That's not a threat. That's for the betterment of society as well as the sustainability aspect of the environment itself. Going through a detailed analysis, starting with the target audience, I will now pass the floor on to Sten.
Thank you very much, Bill. So to begin our analysis, we want to take a good look at your target audience that you really want to advertise to. So the target audience that you have identified to us was persons 18 to 30 years old within the Saskatoon or Saskatchewan area. However, of course, other people outside of this demographic are also more than welcome to learn about the agricultural industry. So when we take a look at this target audience, most of these are frequent social media users. These are the younger generation, and social media has really taken off, and it really builds a lot of momentum towards marketing campaigns. Next, through surveys that have been done, the #1 thing that these people care about is healthy, affordable food. They want to eat healthy, however, they still want their food to be affordable. And this is slowly becoming a bigger and bigger issue with rising food costs, and as well as misinformation about what is actually healthy and what is not for them. Next, currently we see within this demographic, they don't care too much about where their food comes from. And this is an issue that we also want to address because we really want them to care. We want them to buy locally and to support that Canadian as well as the Saskatchewan economy and make it bigger and better. Next, one thing that we can kind of leverage in the marketing campaign is we are all Canadian, and that's something that we love and we can relate to. So when we market to them, we can kind of relate to them by being Canadian. And this is something that we can highlight within our content. Next, environmental responsibility and preservation is something that is becoming more and more important. And this is also very important within the agricultural industry. You obviously rely on the environment, and therefore this is another important part of the industry. So that's the wrong way. So next, we have a table with different options and the decision criteria that we use to make our final decision. First, I want to begin by talking about the top row, which are different options that we considered. So the first one is a combined marketing campaign. This means combining both traditional methods as well as newer methods, and mostly online and social media. So this would be utilizing Facebook as well as some Twitter and YouTube, in addition by creating a website and as well TV advertising to all integrate this together and create an integrated campaign. The next option is a more traditional marketing campaign. So this would be focusing more on print advertising, such as magazines and newspapers. And in addition, it'd be using radio and television. And finally, it would also use another it would be using billboards within the area to create more awareness and education as well. The final option that we considered was going a full-on online marketing campaign. So this would be fully utilizing social media. So this would include, again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, but also maybe using Instagram. And then, in addition, this would also be utilizing a website as a central point for all the information that is important for your target audience to know. Next, on the left side of this table, we have 4 different decision criteria that we considered before making a final decision. Now, each of these decision criteria have different importances to this campaign. So the first of these is cost. This we considered less important, though still relevant. And that's why we gave it a 1 as far as weighting is concerned. We still want a campaign that's affordable and is not too super expensive, though we feel there's more value in actually educating and reaching your final goal of educating this audience. So when we go across the line, the combined and traditional are both fairly expensive methods of marketing. And then online is a little bit cheaper, just because online push paid advertising doesn't cost as much as traditional, such as TV, as well as billboards and similar things like that. The next decision criteria that we used was engagement. We really want to engage your target audience. When they're engaged, they learn more and they want to become more a part of this campaign. So when we gave this a 2 because we felt it was more important than cost, but not quite as important as the final one. When we go across the row this time, combined really engages your target audience by utilizing both the online and some traditional methods. When we look at traditional doesn't engage much. It's more content that you see and read, as opposed to actually you get to see the people that are really a part of it and you get to respond to it. And lastly, by using online, engagement is good again, but simply because it's just online, it's not as engagement as a combined marketing campaign. The third decision criteria that we considered was reach. We want to reach as many people as possible to educate them about the agricultural industry. So again, we felt this was important, though not quite as important as the final decision criteria. When we look at combined, a combined marketing campaign reaches almost everyone that you want to reach, because social media is very popular, but it also reaches those people that don't use social media as much by using TV advertising. When we look at traditional, since a lot of people are now on social media, traditional doesn't quite reach everyone that you want to reach. And therefore, this is only a 1 out of 2. And finally, online for reach is again a 1, just because not everyone is online and not everyone is utilizing social media yet, and therefore it's not quite as high as a reach as a combined marketing campaign. The final decision criteria that we use is educational value. The primary issue that we identified for you was a lack of education about the agricultural industry. Therefore, whatever content that we use within the campaign has to be educational and has to really tell them about the agricultural industry. So therefore, we weighted this as the most important value of our decision criteria. And when we go across the row, combined really is able to educate them well. It reaches a lot of people, and you can put out a lot of content. For example, through the website, you can put all the information that you want them to know there, and then use the other pieces of the marketing campaign to lead your target audience to your website. And next, traditional. Using traditional advertising doesn't quite deliver the educational value that the other ones do, just because there's not a central point that you can really direct everyone to find all this information. And lastly, online again, because it has that website to really lead people to find all the information about the agricultural industry that you want them to know, it is also very good for educational value. Now in the end, when we add up all these totals, we see that combined is 8, traditional is 3.5, and online is 7. And therefore, we feel that a combined marketing strategy is the best way to move forward for you. I would now like to pass it back to my colleague Dale, who will take you through a more detailed version of our recommendation.
Thank you very much, Stan. So, we touched on 3 pillars for the recommendation for this campaign to be completely successful. We're going to start first of all with the food safety. As is well documented and is shown by the Agricultural Ministry, the Health Canada and the Health Board do actually have very, very strict food safety procedures, measuring hormones, measuring antibiotics, making sure the animals not only are healthy, but are well taken care of. That is very important for people to know, as when people are trying to differentiate their products by using chemical updates for their stats, they're constantly saying hormone-free or free range. It's very broad terminology. You have the statistics, you have the capabilities of teaching people what those really mean and how they're actually implemented within Canada as a whole. Second, explaining the regulation process. It's very well regulated in Canada. Very strict procedures, testing, making sure the animals are actually well taken care of, like I mentioned, is incredibly critical. Second pillar, provincial and national benefit. This industry is incredibly important. As mentioned, Saskatoon and Saskatchewan as a whole are actually the market leaders within the agricultural industry of Canada. It's incredibly important to protect that. And that's important for not only the growth of Saskatchewan as a whole, but for the well-being of the Saskatchewan residents. Second part of that is that it employs 2.2 million people. This can't go downhill. With Canada being already incredibly successful and the growth potential being enormous, especially with population growth, technology growth, and the R&D and innovation already within the agricultural industry, having these employments are incredibly important. Targeting 18 to 30-year-olds is therefore not only critical, but it's going to be the biggest importance when it comes to when they're looking for jobs, making sure agriculture is not only known about, but can actually be taught very effectively. By using the website that we're going to be making for you, it's going to be incredibly important that they access it and see the benefits. Finally, misinformation. This can't continue. By accessing the website, it is going to provide not only critical information for them, but it's going to provide for the industry as a whole. Everyone's going to be able to streamline the information, update the statistics, and show everybody involved what exactly is going to be healthy, what is unhealthy, and what exactly those hormone injections truly mean for the animals. And what it does mean is it means less resources, more product. That's sustainable. Moving on, we have another 4-pillar approach for the actual sections we're going to be going through here today. So we have TV. What are we going to do on TV? 30-second commercial. If anybody has ever seen Humans of New York, we're going to create an agricultural industry version. It's going to be how there's not just farmers in agriculture. You can say, I'm a farmer, what does that really mean? You can say I'm in agriculture, but what does that really mean? This ad is going to show you not only what it means, but how it actually differentiates from other jobs while also creating similarities. There's marketing positions within agriculture. That's important, and people are going to love that. Second part, website. The industry information that's currently available right now is mostly government websites, mostly available through Statistics Canada, Ministry of Agriculture. And what's going to be truly important is getting feedback on that and having it easily accessible on online websites, which leads us to Facebook and Twitter. The hashtag promotion. People are hungry for the truth. Let's farm for it. Let's farm for the truth, and let's make sure it's accessible to everybody at all times. The best part about farming for truth is it's relatable. People want the truth about the food they're eating. With the ever-growing amount of people going vegetarian or vegan, there's also an ever-growing amount of people who care about what they put in their body for meat products. That is absolutely critical to touch on because people want to know what they're eating. You can give it to them. Finally, YouTube. A TV advertisement should definitely go on YouTube. What should be more on top of that YouTube ad is actually allowing people to send in their own stories. People upload their own videos. They probably care about their food. You can interact with them. You can go through different sections of the agricultural industry, and you can actually post different available options within the agricultural industry with descriptions about what those people do. Why stop at a simple marketing or a farmer or a machinist when there's production, there's channels, everything matters. There are a ton of opportunities within this industry. I will now pass the floor on to Josh, who will discuss more in detail our approach to the implementation plan.
Thank you, Dale. All right, so now you've heard a bit about Farming for Truth. You've heard our recommendation. How are we going to implement it? As my colleague Dale previously said, we've taken the time to come up with an intense 1-year implementation plan consisting of 3 distinct time periods, starting from 0 to 3 months. For the first stage, we recommend you look at hiring a website developer. This is to create the website, to get it up and running. Secondly, we look at creating the videos. So what is this process going to be? Well, we believe you would be able to leverage off of the Ministry of Agriculture's connections and industry knowledge within the agricultural industry and get in contact with industry professionals that do align with the message you want to put out. So that could be getting in contact with marketing professionals, getting in contact with farmers, getting in contact with logistics managers, and many, many more. Secondly, we recommend you getting a videographer or a marketing company to create the videos. Now, staying in line with staying local and staying in line with growing the Saskatoon market and educating people locally, we believe that the hiring should come internally from within the province of Saskatchewan. So we recommend you look at either going to business development agencies such as Square One, where they could put you in contact with new entrepreneurs that would be able to fulfill this position, helping boost the local economy as well as helping utilize local talent. Lastly, on our initial implementation plan, we have the hiring of a social media manager. Now, as we've said with the Farming for Truth campaign, there will be a large online aspect of it. A lot of that will be done on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. You're going to need someone to manage that over the course of the campaign. Who do you want to hire? Well, we recommend, again, staying in line, staying inside the province. We recommend looking at the Edwards Business School, fourth-year students that are just about to graduate, that would like to get into the industry, that would like to get a feel for marketing, and that are young, that are fresh, that have good ideas, that are used to using social media. We also recommend you looking at people within the Edwards Business School Master's Program that would have even more research aspects to their skill base. Secondly, we have the 3 to 6 month implementation plan. Firstly, in this, we'll be getting out, we recommend you get out the TV adverts, which would be consisting of a 3-month series of TV adverts airing over the course of 3 months. And here you would be able to, again, showcase it to a wide provincial-based audience and get the message out there, mass marketed. Secondly, within that step, we recommend launching your online and social media campaign. That would be posting links to the Facebook and the Twitter. We recommend doing this either in line at the same time as the adverts are aired or just after, as the adverts will include information linking towards a social media campaign and the online website, and including the hashtag to make sure you get maximum levels of engagement. Lastly, within this 3 to 6 month plan, we recommend putting up extended videos onto YouTube. A campaign we've seen done across the board is having shorter adverts on the TV to utilize a lower cost, and then having extended versions of those adverts on YouTube so people are able to continuously go back to them and get more information about them. Lastly, within our implementation plan, we have the 6 to 12 month period. Within this period, we recommend you look at your KPIs, your key performance indicators. How are you going to measure the success of this campaign? Well, for YouTube, we recommend looking at your views, your shares, and your likes on the YouTube channel, as well as utilizing the comment box, seeing what people are talking about, what kind of discussions are being generated. Can you further implement this within the campaign? Can you look at taking some of these comments further, maybe discussing them on your Twitter, discussing them on your Facebook? Then we look at the website, monitoring engagement on the website. How many clicks are we getting? How many views are we getting daily, weekly, monthly? Also, viewing on the website what kind of questions, how's the website being utilized? Are people utilizing the frequently asked questions page? Are people utilizing the contact us section? How are people engaging? How can we address it, and how can we further increase that engagement? Lastly, within that implementation is to analyze the success of the campaign, see how well, how much more engagement you've got, how many people you've reached out to, and is the campaign successful within your target age group of 18 to 30-year-olds? And following on from that, if the campaign is successful, as we believe it will be, how can we extend it? Is that to extend it over a time period? Is that to use the same strategies to launch another campaign? And now moving on to budgeting aspects, I'll be passing it back on to my colleague Sten to take you through that. Thank you.
Thank you. So when we're looking at the budget for this marketing campaign, there's several different things that we need to spend money on, I suppose. So the first of these is developing of the website, which we value at about $75,000. Next, a TV commercial, as information provided with previous research, is about $200,000 during prime time. Next, creating the commercial itself is about $15,000. Also, finally, hiring an online manager to manage these social media and the YouTube as well as the website is another $60,000. In total, this is about $350,000, which falls within your budget of $500,000. Now I would like to pass it back to Josh for the risks and mitigation.
For the risks of mitigation, a potential risk you have is lack of engagement. Well, the reason we've left extra money inside of your budget is for this risk. What can we do to extend that? Would it mean to take out further adverts on TV, or would that mean to look at additional channels such as magazines and newspapers and see the success that that could potentially bring? Secondly, the campaign loses momentum too fast after the TV adverts. How could we mitigate that? Well, we could extend the campaign budget and also extend potentially the TV adverts. Thank you very much. We are JDS Consulting, and we now open the floor for any questions you may have.
When it comes to your website and the social media, what are you gonna do to get people to come to your website? Because I think of my Facebook and my Twitter feed every day, I see a million messages come through there and a million different things come through the feed. So what's gonna make me want to click on and go and see Farming for Truth?
The best part about Farming for Truth is all of the ads and all of the designs are going to be custom tailored to the target market of 18 to 30. That's not to say that most people can't get in it as well, but what's going to make you actually visit the website. The best part about having it on TV online, TV show online for the advertisements, is that it's going to actually link directly to the website. At the end of the ad, you're going to see hashtag Farming for Truth. Visit us now, farmingfortruth.ca. And it's going to be a section of the Ministry of Agriculture. It's going to be directly integrated, and it's going to have the appeal that younger people will be able to look into, because it's going to offer more educative, interactive availability for them if they're curious about that commercial. Secondary, as mentioned, there is going to be a cost associated with the Facebook. Those are going to be the sponsored advertisements. Yes, it'll clutter your newsfeed, but it's going to be custom tailored to that market. Since we understand what the market wants, you can provide it for them.
So I'm a bit concerned because I know the food services industry has a large advertising budget. So can you just talk a bit more about how we're going to be able to compete with that using this campaign?
Well, the reason we've linked it onto Facebook and Twitter, and the reason we've linked it with the hashtag Farming for Truth, is because we believe ultimately people care about what goes into their bodies, and people care about their nation, their province. So what differentiates us between the food services industry is that we're not promotional advertising. We're not trying to sell a product. We're trying to get a message across, and we're trying to get engagement. We want consumer stories. When we're linking that with information from healthcare professionals and industry professionals, however, the main push will be that most of the content is generated from the audience. It is peer-generated content via the social media, via the Twitter, people using the hashtags. The adverts won't be of actors. The adverts will be of local, provincial industry professionals. The adverts will be of potentially your cousin that's in farming, your brother that's in marketing, your mum that's a logistics manager. It will have impactful and meaningful relationship to the target audience, as opposed to ad campaigns done by the food services industry. I hope that answers your question.
You mentioned about basically mobilizing the agricultural community to be able to do that. How do you go about initiating to get them excited about being involved in mobilizing that?
One big way to do that is using that TV commercial. As shown by A&W as well as Chipotle, they utilize TV to start their campaign. And that, using that TV advertising, it really generated a lot of conversation, and that spilled over onto social media. So with a good TV commercial, you can really start that campaign and build up momentum, and then that momentum will shift onto the social media and really continue on from there.
I'm sure you all know, you can only have a good marketing strategy if you're targeting and positioning, and your marketing strategy, specifically in this case advertisement, are aligned. Now, do you see your target market or your target group as just one big category, or can we be more specific and categorize them, the 18 to 30-year-olds, to smaller categories and more effectively target each group using social media, conventional advertisement, and other tools?
So just
have you thought of more of having more categories in that target group, and if you could more effectively target each of those categories in the 18 to 30-year-olds? They're not all the same.
True. If I may clarify the question, just so everyone can understand better. Did we consider taking the 18 to 30-year-old market that we have targeted and segmenting it so that they could be easily more targetable? The benefit to this is that everybody in that market matters, and they all care about their bodies. Everybody cares about themselves. Did we consider it? Yes. Would it reach as many and would it mean as much if the education wasn't more directed towards everybody? Not as much. We did consider it. It was definitely an option. However, with the industry that we're targeting, agriculture, it affects everybody. It might not affect them equally, and there is the potential for segmentation, perhaps different targeting with the different commercials, but it's relatable to every single person. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could even be you working in the agricultural industry. The best part about this advertising campaign is it targets everybody as a whole because we are all concerned about ourselves. We're concerned about the food that goes in our mouths, we're concerned about the jobs that are out there, and we are definitely concerned about how everything is being treated, not only fairly, but sustainability-wise, as well as how the environment's being affected. That affects everybody. Thank you, sir.